I just watched a movie from my childhood that I don't remember that well, and it held up. I don't know how the fuck it didn't scare me as a kid. It did. It did scare me as a kid. I just watched Jumanji, and by that I mean I watched it a couple days ago and forgot to film this. Alan is a kid who's getting bullied, and when he says, "Hey Dad, I'm getting bullied," his dad says, "Cool, buddy, why don't you go fight all of your bullies? Because that's what you should do as a parent." Then when Alan gets beat up, his dad's like, "Hey, you're kind of a wimp. Anyway, we're sending you to military school because that's where I went, and look how great I am." And then he says he never wished he saw his dad. Also, he went to a construction site and found a board game in the ground because that's a great idea. He also forced his best friend to play the board game with him, and then the board game eats him. It's Jumanji. The board game's alive, if you didn't know that. Flash forward, two kids move into his old house. They find the board game. They play it. They free him from the board game. They go back and find his childhood best friend, and they psychologically torture her by making her play the board game. As a kid, I remember being like, wow, Alan's so funny, ha ha ha. As an adult, I'm like, he threatened her with a sword? He's not a good example for those children. I'm glad they got their memories erased at the end. The best part of this movie is the cop, which you will not hear me say often, and watching his car get destroyed over and over again. It was my roommate's first time watching this, and she popped at that a lot. Anyway, basically they play the board game and a bunch of bad stuff happens, like a stampede, a flood, monkeys. The boy tries to cheat, gets turned into a monkey. Poisonous flowers, and a guy who's been hunting Alan his whole life, who's played by the same actor as his dad. But in the end, right before Alan gets sniped in the head, he wins the game, says Jumanji, gets sent back in time. The kids get erased from existence, but then they come back because the parents have sex and make them. But they don't have their memories. Thank God, because can you imagine being born as a baby and having all of your memories from a past life up to the age of 7? That would suck. Alan and the girl also lose their memory because they say, hey, we're losing our memory, so they don't have to be adults in kids' bodies. Thank God. And anyway, they live happily ever after, get married, and no one ever plays the board game again until The Rock decided he wanted a paycheck. Most realistic thing was the guns and ammo people selling illegal firearms to a random guy because why not?